What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post game live for the 2025-26 season right here on Dime Dropper, your home for all things LA pro basketball and LA sports. Live from Los Angeles, as always. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime or have your comment read. Any donation is appreciated. Also, sign up to become a member of the channel. We have a weekly Wednesday members only lives where you can join me on stage, ask any question you want, and I talk about other teams throughout the league. You are also entitled to skipping the line at interviews of games if you attend them, if you get interviewed by me in vlogs, and you'll be eligible for a giveaway at 25 and 50 members. I'll be trying to do some of those kind of regularly. So sign up to be a member. You also get free access or early access to merch when I release it. So we got a couple of things to talk about tonight. Actually, not really. One game to talk about, 76ers and Clippers. And it was our third game of our 7-game roadie. If you didn't hear me react to Derek Jones Jr.'s injury, and basically every game has been covered on this channel, whether it be a vlog or a live, except for the Suns loss on the road. So try my best. And of course, Locked On Clippers for more. But let's talk about the game tonight. A 110-108 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. The return of Paul George, his season debut, and he did not really do much outside of make that first shot. He played, obviously, he was on a minutes restriction, just 21 minutes, had 9 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 1 turnover on 2 for 9 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, and 4 for 7 from the free throw line. So there's really nothing much to say about Paul George. I mean, he's kind of washed. But anyway, this was a tough one because we led for the majority of the game. You know, we were up by as many as 13 points, and the Sixers were only up by 5. You know, we were up 33-25 after the first quarter. Actually came out with pretty good defensive intensity. You know, we were down 5-0, went on a 14-0 run. I thought everyone looked pretty good. James Harden had a really big first quarter with 17 points. And I was thinking to myself, even when Kobe Sanders and Bogey were in, he was still very ball dominant. And I felt like, he was in his bag, but I was just worried about him, on the second night of a back-to-back. Will he be able to sustain that throughout the game? And the answer was no, because in the second half, James Harden shot 2 for 16 and 0 for 7 from 3. So he really cooled down. And I honestly thought in the third quarter, he took a lot of bad shots, like shots that he didn't even need to take. And I get it. He doesn't have much offensive assistance, but there were just some times. And by the way, he probably got fouled on that last play. And there was definitely some contact below, but I think the contact up top was more clear cut. I just, however, think that, a lot of times you see it in the end of a game, the refs won't call something like that. And with James, he's got a reputation for trying to go for the foul. So, I mean, I can't be too mad at that last play. We'll see what the last 2-minute report says, but I bet you they'll say it's a foul because it was. But, and I get James going for the win there. We're in the second night of a back-to-back. He probably didn't have the legs for overtime. I mean, you could see he didn't really have the legs in the fourth quarter when 4 out of his 6 shots were threes. And they were contested threes, and none of them went in. So, it's hard because Harden's been so heroic lately. It's really tough to blame him for much. I just thought that the approach in the third quarter, we had some possessions between Bogey and Harden that were just a bunch of dribbling around and tough contested shots, and we just didn't need that. Look, the end of the possession may come down to a Harden contested shot, but at least let's get the ball moving. It was literally just 1 pass or 0 passes, ISO. It was really, really bad. And usually I'm not as critical about like how we run our offense, because when you have James Harden on your team, some people are like, Ty Lue only runs ISO. It's like, no, James Harden runs pick and roll. And when they switch, he ISOs because he's one of the best isolation players in NBA history. However, in this game, I just thought that it was really stagnant. It was a lot of dribbling. When we went through that kind of cold spell in the second half, and again, without Kawhi Leonard, you're putting a lot on James Harden's plate. He essentially has to be great every single night because we lost Norman Powell, because we lost Derek Jones Jr., but mainly because we lost Kawhi Leonard. And my bad, I didn't mean to say Norman Powell. I meant Bradley Beal, but in a roundabout way, it comes back to Norman Powell. So when we don't have Kawhi Leonard, it's going to be hard. Like last year when we didn't have Kawhi, we had Norman Powell. But now we don't have the replacement for Norman Powell. And John Collins was a big time to help Kawhi Leonard move. So it makes it so much harder for James Harden. And the fact that he's 36 still playing at this level, I can criticize his approach tonight all I want. There's a lot of ISO, a lot of bad threes, too many threes in the second half. But he was probably gassed. My only thing with Harden is I think he needs to be a little bit smarter about the way he manages himself throughout a game. When he's got other guys like Kobe Sanders and Bogey out there, like at the end of the first quarter, he needs to take a step back to conserve his legs for the late stages of the game, because you don't want Bogey and Kobe Sanders creating those shots late in the game. You want it to be James Harden. However, I think he kind of burns himself out when he kind of gets, he was getting going in that first quarter, but I just kept thinking to myself, if he's this ball dominant, is it going to last? And it didn't. So I just think that he needs to find a way to, when those other guys are in that can handle the ball a little bit, that can make plays, even a guy like Lopez or Zoo that you can dump it down to, he's got to be a little less aggressive and just kind of space. Like, I respect that he was aggressive tonight, but 7 for 25 from the field, 2 for 12 from three. Thankfully, he made all 12 of his free throws, which is a great stat. But 6 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with 28 points, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Like, I'm not saying he played terribly, but it wasn't good enough. And it was just in the second half, it was bad. He had 18 in the first half and then 10 in the second half. And it was the lack of efficiency that hurt us. But again, it's hard for me to blame it on James Harden because he's kind of just dragging us right now. And then Zoo, he got outplayed in that second half by Andre Drummond, who had 14 and 18. Ivica Zubats had 14 and 13 to go along with 1 assist, 1 steal. Thankfully, no turnovers, but we needed so much more. 7 for 13. I mean, I just sound like a broken record. And I think that is partially on James Harden and Ty Lue. But it's like, how many years are we going to say this with Zoo? He's got to be much more assertive. By the way, in 2 minutes, I am going to delete the Twitter portion of this live. Come to YouTube. I'm trying to hit 14,000 subscribers. Come to YouTube and support your boy, not Twitter. So I'm going to cut that out off in 2 minutes. I see 21 on Twitter, 20 on YouTube. The link to the video is on my Twitters anyway. So anyway, it was tough, man. It was tough just to lose a game like that where we were up by 13. We were up by double digits in the fourth quarter. But the thing is, a double-digit lead in today's NBA is nothing. And Tyrese Maxey is the best player on the court, unfortunately. I don't know if any James Harden stans will get offended by that. They get offended by anything. But Tyrese Maxey's averaging like 30 points a game right now. He's balling out. So, he took over. And Chris Dunn, for being as good of a defender as he is, he's gambling way too much and got beat backdoor off ball several times. He's over. And I don't know if it's because he saw Dyson Daniels get so much love because he got so many steals last year. He needs to stay away from that and just play solid defense, because he's been getting beat backdoor all season long. He's been getting punished on his gambling all season long. And I love Chris Dunn, but it's very noticeable what's happening there. But, we held the 76ers to 40. It was bad for a while, but they shot so well in the fourth. They just made up for the shit first 3 quarters that they had. It was kind of like a perfect storm of everything going right for them and everything going badly for us. And I get it. That's kind of an excuse, but it's not, because, yeah, they're missing Joel Embiid. They are. And we're missing Kawhi. So I guess it kind of evens out. They're missing Kelly Oubre. We're missing Brad and Derek Jones. But forget Brad, Derek Jones. So they do a lot of the same things. So it was an even game, and they were at home. And we're on a second night of a back-to-back. So it is what it is. It's kind of like 2 it is what it is kind of losses. It's hard for me to be mad at the team unless I'm mad at James Harden. I mean, I'm mad at Zoo more so, because Harden, yeah, he shot poorly. He took some bad shots, but like, it's kind of bleak, But what's interesting? We actually played Chris Paul in this game, and it wasn't one of the worst games he's played, which was nice to see. He came in the second quarter. He had a big 3 in the fourth quarter. He was only -6, but again, single game plus minus is nothing. I mean, an 11-minute sample size. He had 3 points on 1 for 2 shooting and made his only 3 to go along with 2 rebounds and no turnovers. So it kind of gave me a little bit more hope that CP3 might be able to get back into the rotation and play a little bit, especially in this time where we desperately need some offense and we don't have Kawhi Leonard. Beal's out for the season. We got to think about it. We played 10 guys in this game. In the fourth quarter, we got outscored 37-25. We beat them in the first 2 quarters. As I mentioned earlier, 33-25 in the first, 23-21 in the second, broke even in the third at 27, and then they outscored us by 12 in the fourth quarter. And the shooting splits tell the whole story. We shot 30% from the field in the fourth and 20% from 3. However, we were 11 for 11 from the free throw line. and they were 64% from the field in the fourth and 54.5% from three. And then only 5 free throw attempts, in which they made 3 of them. And the sad part is we actually took care of the ball in the fourth. We only turned the ball over twice, same as them. But they just started hitting. And it wasn't Paul George. He was 0 for 1. It was Tyrese Maxey with 14 points in the fourth. Quentin Grimes with 9 in the fourth. Andre Drummond hitting a 3. So it was just, they turned up on us. And then that last possession, shout out to my mod over here, or sorry, one of my members. He asked, what did you think about the final shot? Do you think we would have won in overtime if Harden made his 3 free throws? Well, technically, if Harden got fouled on a 3 and shot 3 free throws, we would have won the game because we were down by 2. And then he got a second look, and he had to double clutch a little bit because Grimes was in his face, but he bricked both. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments, Clipper Nation. Do you blame James Harden at all? Did he was he too ISO heavy in that second half? Did he take some bad shots? Or is it like hard to blame him because he's carrying the offense? The only criticism I have really of him is like, I can't, his legs were clearly tired. He was shooting a lot of jumpers. The only thing I can say is there are times in that second half where he's getting loaded up on. He can give up the ball to some of these guys because he's already creating the advantage. They're loading up. They're sagging off those guys. He makes that pass. Now they're getting downhill in a 4-on-3. So I think there were avenues in which he could have conserved himself a little bit more, in my opinion. So it wasn't a great game from him, and we kind of need that unless we get a great game from everybody else. And Zoo, you just can start with him. Bang average. 14 and 13 or 16 and 12 or whatever, that's the minimum for him. With Kawhi, quite frankly. Without Kawhi, he needs to be 20 points a night. So what else can I say? I mean, Chris Dunn started the game on Maxey. Zoo on Drummond. Kobe Sanders started, by the way, and I got some good things to say about him, on VJ Edgecombe. John Collins on Dominic Barlow, and Harden on Paul George. But Paul George is not that aggressive, coming back from injury or not. Andre Drummond on Zoo, Maxey on Chris Dunn, Paul George on Kobe Sanders, Dominic Barlow on John Collins, VJ Edgecombe on James Harden. As I mentioned, we were down 5-0, and then we went on a 14-0 run. Kobe Sanders had a nice little finger roll, played some good defense at the rim. I love how active he's been so far, just in every aspect, whether it be crashing the offensive glass to get a second chance points, playing off 2 feet, kind of getting in the paint, and catching and shooting from 3 and just playing hard defense. I mean, the guy looks like an NBA player in a rotation piece right now, which is honestly a dream come true and a positive to this dreadful start to the season that we dreadful start to the season that we are experiencing right now. 4-11, bruh, or 4-10. Like, top 3 seed, top 4 seed is fucking cooked. Absolutely cooked. And I'm looking like a clown because I put so much, I just didn't think we'd have Bradley Beal out for the season so early, but hey, that's what I get for being optimistic. I was just like 50 games last year, and we're better this year, but we're better when everyone's healthy. Were we better without Kawhi? That's something I never thought about. But you know what I did? I just thought about Beal. I put my stock in a Beal. That was stupid. So, member says he was shooting poorly for sure, but in the first quarter, he found his way to the rim. I feel like when the opponent's hedge, it slows him down a lot. That's fair. But I don't know, man. I just think he did. When you look at the plays, he was isoing coming up the floor. So, yes, he was feeling himself, but he's got to be thinking about the long haul, especially when we're already winning the game. That's just my opinion. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Twitter portion of this live. If you want to hear the rest, come over to the YouTube, as my Algebra 1 teacher, Mr. Gunio, used to say back in the day. And yes, that was his name. But we got 37 people in the live. Again, super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime and get a comment read, or you can just become a member of the channel. That is, extremely appreciated for your boy, because you better believe I do not get enough money for doing this every single night, covering this team, even though I fucking hate our direction, which everybody knows. And I'm doing Locked On later. But you know what? We got to do it for the boys and for the girls that are watching this, which is definitely not that many because it's sports talk. But anyway, what else we got? I mean, 14-0 run. Zoo and Collins, I thought were looking big. It looked like we had more size out there. I thought our defense was solid in that starting unit. And I think Kobe Sanders has given us some defensively. The only weak defender in that starting lineup is Harden. So I kind of like that starting lineup. In terms of coverages, Drummond was in drop. Lopez and Zoo were both hedging on Maxey. And honestly, that's working. I think we definitely saw something in that second half of the Celtics game where we're like, you know what? Just because Zoo and Lopez are great at drop coverage doesn't mean that we can't show, on the ball and come up to the level of the screen, because there's a lot of great pull-up shooters in the game today, and you got to take away those open threes. So 33-20 at one point of the first quarter, with James Harden leading the way with 17 points. And so after the one, as I said, we were up by 8, and my only thought was, great first quarter, but can we sustain it? And then in the second quarter, we had a total bench lineup of Chris, Cam, Bogey, Nico, and then one starter, Zoo. And we started cooling down a bit, and they started chipping away. They started going 1-2-2 zone to make Harden just kind of get rid of the ball. So it was kind of a back and forth second quarter that they were winning for the most part. But then we had 2 straight threes to end the quarter, one by Nico and another by Lopez. So I just thought, going into the second half, we're looking good. We're up 56-46. I'm feeling good. It's just a matter of, can we sustain that level of play? And then in the third quarter, John Collins got a nice and one. And I have to say, I thought there was a really good emphasis sometimes when you saw Collins have a smaller guy on him, for him to post up in the middle of the key, and we threw it to him and he got a couple and ones. He was crashing the offensive glass. I thought we saw some really good stuff from him in this game. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds, just 1 turnover, which is good for him lately, on 3 for 8 shooting, and made all 5 of his free throws. So I thought it was a pretty decent John Collins game, honestly. 27 minutes, though, without Kawhi Leonard is kind of bullshit. He did have 4 personal fouls, though, but he should be in the 30-minute range every single game. I know he was on a slump recently where he had 3 bad games in a row, but he bounced back in the Boston game, and he was again in double figures tonight. So I don't know. The fact that John has only played 30-plus minutes twice this season is kind of ridiculous, given he's getting paid $26 million, and we traded Norman Powell for him. I know he hasn't been perfect, but, like, at least live and die with that trade since we made it. Because Norm is fucking kicking ass over in Miami. So that's annoying to me from Ty Lue. That's my only Ty Lue criticism of this game, really. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey was getting him back in the game. He was absolutely carrying their offense. Nico, I will say this, it's nice to see him hit open threes lately, because he was in a slump to start the season, and he's been in one. But in this game, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 3 for 7 shooting, and all his shots were threes in 21 minutes of play. 11 points off the bench from Nico, shooting efficiently from 3. You'll absolutely take that all day. He was also making some plays defensively. So it looks like Nico is starting to return back to the Nico that we know and love. And we're going to need that without Kawhi for however many games, and especially without DJ. But as I said, in the third quarter, we started playing this trash ISO ball where it was just dribbling with Harden and Bogey, and no ball movement, and just taking really bad contested threes. And again, if the possession is going to result in a contested 3 for Harden, can we at least have some other people touching the ball? At least have something. I don't even know why we weren't even going to the 1-5 pick and roll anymore. I know they might have been switching for a sec, but it just felt like we were settling so much. So despite all that, we still broke even with them in the third. So going into the fourth quarter up by 10, I was just thinking, we know they're going to make one more push. They're a younger team than us. We know they're going to make one more push. They're at home, but can we, what's the word? Can we withstand that run that the home team is going to make and gut out a win? That's the sign of a great team. And right now, we're anything but a great team. As I mentioned earlier, Chris Dunn gambling too much and getting beat off ball by Maxey. They went on a 19-6 run, and Harden was breaking, turning it over. And at the end of the game, this is when it's only going to be James Harden, because Kobe Sanders, Bogey, these guys are not yet good enough, in my opinion, to create these kinds of shots late in the game when the pressure's on and the defense is getting more physical. It has to be James Harden without Kawhi. And that's where we need him to be a little bit more conservative, especially on the second half of a back-to-back. In the beginning of the game, we're actually winning, and it's the vibes are somewhat fresh. But yeah, that turnover James threw was pretty crucial late in the game, that kick out. And then I thought he also, when he got in the lane, he had some resistance to taking the floater. I really don't know why. I think he's really got to embrace taking that floater when he's gotten 2 feet in the paint, James Harden. But yeah, Sanders, I mean, he was awesome, man. He's been doing a little bit of everything. And I'm just so happy that we have a good young player, because it makes me have hope for pivoting sooner rather than later. And when we do pivot, having some good players. The last thing I'm going to say, besides, because I already mentioned Harden breaking the threes. By the way, how about the fact that we got the ball back on that? Nico Batum and Chris Dunn. But when we close the game with Bogey and Harden, our defense is bad. Like, our defense is not good to end games when we have those two. And then we forgot about Zoo. But again, that's no excuse. If it's Zubats did have 6 shots in the fourth, so what am I even saying? Let's take a look at some of these. So that's it for the game, guys. We blew it. I don't really know what to say, man. I really don't know what to say. Like, in terms of singling out this game, we need the only way we can balance or find a way to win in a game that Harden doesn't play great without Kawhi is if Zubats plays great. And we got a decent Zubats game and like a not so great Harden game. And maybe that's being generous to Zoo saying he was decent. I think neither of them were good enough. But again, second night of a back-to-back, you got many rotation players out. This isn't going to be easy. That's why I said the beginning of the season was crucial. But some people were saying, oh, you're panicking so much after game 1 against Utah. No, we've seen this movie before. We witnessed it in 2023. When we have an easy start to the season schedule-wise, you got to take advantage of it or else you're going to be in a hole. The Western Conference is no joke. We're only going to get more injuries as the season continues. So the time to perform was against Utah and against Miami. What are we out of right now? We're out of the race for a top 4 seed. We might even be out of the race for a top 6 seed. And it's game 14. This season is a disaster so far. And I look like the fool because I said we'd be like the 3rd seed. It's like, we'll be the 3rd seed. We have enough depth. That depth has not been good enough. Chris Paul being a part of that. And of course, yeah, Chris Paul being a part of that. But we saw some decent signs in this game. So let's read the lines for this one. 110 to 108, the Philadelphia 76ers were playing really good basketball to start this season, even without Paul George and Embiid being kind of injured. Kind of is an understatement. Jabari Walker played 4 minutes, so they really played a 9-man rotation. Justin Edwards had a donut. He was 0 for 6 on the field, 0 for 4 from 3, grabbed 5 rebounds, got 4 assists, and played 18 minutes. Also, Jared McCain. I didn't even know he was back, by the way. But he's only been back for a couple of games, and he's been on a minutes restriction, it looks like. He got 15 minutes in the first game, and then he's gotten less every single game. So, I don't know. I wouldn't give up on him. I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe he's just working his way back health-wise. And then Trendon Watford. He had 8 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover on 4 for 6 shooting in 19 minutes and was plus 10 off the Sixers bench. They got 27 points off their bench. We got 31 points off our bench. So we actually outscored them in that category. Then Quentin Grimes, he had 19 points, 2 boards, 3 dimes, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 0 turnovers off the bench. Really good game from him. 6 for 10 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, and 4 of 5 from the free throw line. He was a plus 12, which was the highest of any 76er in his 36 minutes, 60, 50, 80 shooting splits. So salute to him. And then the starters, all of whom played 21 or more minutes. I already mentioned Paul George's 9, 7, and 3 stat line on 2 for 9 shooting and 1 for 4 from 3 and 4 for 7 from the free throw line in 21 minutes. Dominic Barlow had 7 points, 1 rebound, 3 steals, and 2 turnovers in 21 minutes on 3 for 4 shooting. Andre Drummond had 14 and 18 to go along with a steal, 1 turnover on 5 for 8 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line in 38 minutes. I mean, Zoo cannot be getting outplayed by him. VJ Edgecombe, the very impressive young rookie who began the season with an amazing performance against the Celtics. He's been awesome to watch. Super athletic, can get to the basket really quick and guards and can shoot. 6 for 13 from the field for him, 2 for 6 from 3, 0 for 2 from the free throw line. He had 14, 6, and 6 and did not turn the ball over at all. And then, of course, Tyrese Maxey, who's having an incredible career year. 41 minutes played for him. He had 39 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 4 turnovers on 13 for 27 shooting, 4 for 11 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. He was just the best player on the court for this 76ers team, who shot 46, 33, 70 splits. They shot better than us in every category except for the free throw line, in which, if there is a positive to take, we've been shooting a lot better from the free throw line. But anyway, let's talk about the Clippers stat lines. We went 10 deep. Chris Paul played the least amount of minutes. He had 3 points, 2 boards, no turnovers on 1 for 2 shooting and made his only 3. I think it's promising enough to play him next game. because we need all the help we can get offensively. And the depth of this team is partially on Chris Paul and Bogey. We're already missing Beal, Kawhi, and Derek, so we're down to 8 guys. So, yes, we've been depleted by injury, which is typical of the Clippers, but we need those 8 guys to be good. And Bogey and Chris Paul need to be better. John Collins needs to be used more. Ivica Zubac needs to be better. So that's all I got to say about Chris Paul. I thought he was fine. And then we had Cam Christie, who played 12 minutes, had 2 points, 1 block, 1 turnover on 1 for 2 shooting, and 0 for 1 from deep. Didn't get much from him, to be honest with you. But again, I'm giving him some grace because he's just learning how to play NBA basketball. And then you have Brook Lopez, who was just kind of there, in my opinion. 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 turnover on 2 for 5 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, and 1 of 1 from the free throw line. He was a +5 in his 14 minutes. So for all the net rating people that were always talking about how bad Brook Lopez was because of his net rating, positive net rating in the last 2 games or plus minus in the last 2 games. But again, I don't like single game plus minus is not a big deal to me. And I talked about Nico, 11 points, 6 boards off the bench. And then Bogey, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers. So all that sounds great, but we really could have used a better shooting game from him. 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, 2 for 3 from the free throw line. And then the starters, all of whom played 27 or more minutes. I already mentioned John Collins with 11 and 7 on 3 for 8 shooting in just 27 minutes. Need more minutes. And then Chris Dunn, 7 points, 2 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover. Thought he was a little bit more aggressive with his handle, making some plays, especially in like transition situations. 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3 in 27 minutes. My only issue with him was 5 fouls and just gambling too much, reaching too much. But at least he had a good shooting game. And then you have Kobe Sanders, who's been just awesome to watch. 17 points, 1 board, 1 dime, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 5 for 11 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and played some solid defense. We really got one, man. We finally got one. 5-year college player, though we got one. And then Zoo, 14 and 13, 1 assist, 1 steal. Thankfully, no turnovers, but 13 shots. To have 7 shots going into the 4th is disgraceful. Completely disgraceful. Unless they're like doubling hard, which they weren't doing a ton. 2 for 6 in the 4th. We're going to take a look at those shot attempts in a second, but just not good enough. I don't think. 14 points is just not enough. James Harden, already talked about, 28 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers on 7 for 25 shooting, 2 for 12 from 3, and 12 for 12 from the free throw line. On the YouTube side, we're going to look at some plays before we end this live towards the end of the game. I got no other games to talk about right now. I just want to say this, Clipper Nation. I understand this is tough, but for me, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know why anybody got their expectations too high. I know we had a lot of depth. I know I kind of spoke about all that depth that we had before the season, and I look like a clown, and I'm okay with being clowned. It is what it is. I put too much stock into Kawhi being healthy and not realizing that he could go down, but honestly, that's not even it. I thought Kawhi could go down. I just thought that the other 10 players on our team could pick up the slack, but I should have realized that one of those 10 players was Bradley Beal and gone a little bit real. Not to make it rhyme, but this is all I'll say. I've been out on this era of Clipper basketball since 2023, the end of that season. Ever since then, I have had to find other avenues in my life to make me happy because the Clippers do not make me happy. I get happy going to games. I get happy interacting with fans. I get happy that and thankful and grateful that 60 people are listening to me at 12:30 in the morning talking about the Clippers being 4-10. I can no longer really lose. And then after this, I get to talk about it on Locked On, which is a dream come true to get paid to talk about my favorite team. But I haven't enjoyed the basketball in quite some time. This era is cooked. It's another year of waiting for Kawhi Leonard to be healthy. It's another year of, oh, if Kawhi is healthy, we can do this. And we're only in this position because we caved to the demands of Kawhi Leonard. And I do not disagree with that because you have prime Kawhi Leonard coming to the most unfortunate and worst franchise at the time in NBA history. You don't say no to that. You have to do what it takes. to get him. And we did. But now it's been over. We made a mistake re-signing him after like a 26-5 stretch in 2024. And we honestly, like, as great as James Harden has been, we gave up more picks to get him. We doubled down on this era to get James Harden to help Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who walked away for nothing, by the way, just to help Kawhi Leonard. We got James Harden and gave up more picks just to help Kawhi Leonard. And now James Harden is carrying the team nightly without Kawhi Leonard season after season. The problem is nobody would take this guy. Nobody will take this guy. And beyond the on-court headache of him always being out, we are now in an investigation in the league. And we don't have a future. And now I'm seeing a tweet every single night about OKC getting a top 5 pick. Here's all I'm going to say. Clipper fans, until we reboot this mission, which is obviously ultimately to win a championship, but we're not going to be able to do that for a while, especially when we reboot. We're probably going to be pretty trash for a little bit. But Ballmer won't accept being trash, right? So what are we going to do? Probably ride this season out and wait for Kawhi to come back. But what if he gets hurt again? Is James Harden's playoff streak going to come to an end? He's so good, he might not be able to allow that. He'll play so well, we find a way. But regardless, what are we as fans hoping for? What are we as fans waiting for? What hope do we have? It's a first-round exit at best. This era has been beyond cooked. Everybody's like, well, you have no picks. You're going to suck, and there's going to be no, like, silver lining. Dude, the silver lining is not having to watch this anymore. I would rather watch Kobe Sanders, Zubats, Kobe Brown, and Jordan Miller, and Yannick go 21-61 than this. I swear to you, I would. I was a Clipper fan. We were 19-63. I was a Clipper fan. We were 23-59. At least we would be developing young players. This is ass. This has been ass. But I, who lost my house in a fucking fire heard around the world, I could not be happier with my life. I do what I love every single day. I am coaching my 7th and 8th grade teams. Our season practices begin this week. I have an AAU team and a business that's rapidly growing, and I get to make a difference in kids' lives and build my own culture every single day, every single week. I am so appreciative of the life that I live, the content that I make, and the things that I do, and how much I have. Because when, I was too privileged before. Literally, I was too privileged. I never had real struggle in my life outside of like, school is tough, and you go through things with girls and stuff like that, like normal kid shit. Nothing that serious. Now I've been through things that even my friends that are less fortunate than I was growing up, now I've felt real pain, that I've had to see this year. So the Clippers being ass does nothing to me. I was already checked out when we got James Harden, because I was like, oh, now we're going to get James Harden, my least favorite player to watch play basketball, and he's been fucking amazing for our team. But what is that? It's a very good floor raiser that's going to crash out in the playoffs regardless at some point. And that's the reality that even Harden fans will admit. But it doesn't make Harden's life any easier when he has to overcompensate for Kawhi. So all I'll say is this. Find something else in your life. Clipper fans, seriously, like those of you that have kids and stuff, you look forward to seeing your kids, you have a family. But I'm talking about young people like me who stress the fuck out and go crazy after this every game. I had to make a change in my life. Legit. Like, I'm talking to you human to human at this point, because this shit does affect your mental health. We are that invested. But I am no longer that. I live the best life of anyone. Like, I truly, tomorrow we have my first 8th grade practice. I've coached this team for 3 years. We're on a mission. We're locked in. Like, there's no point of complaining about Kawhi anymore. Like, I'm living the dream. So, we could bounce back. We could be a play-in team. But that's it. We're going to lose in the first round probably. And then it's another season of what are we going to do? But I'll tell you what, when I'm covering the team with a new era of Clipper basketball, I'm going to be the most positive, optimistic fan on the internet. I don't care if we're 10-72. I just don't want to root for this anymore. But I'm in it for life. You know what I'm saying? I'm in it for life. We're in it for life. And this feeling of such hopelessness is going to make that feeling when we have a different team that much better. It really will. I mean, look what Phoenix is doing. They thought that, if we trade KD and Beal and rebuild, it's not going to be that fun. Their team is like super fun right now. So anyway, That's it for the audio portion of this live. Now, if you're on the YouTube side, we're going to go over some clips. So peace out. Join the YouTube. Appreciate all the shout outs. Bones got busy. Let's get vlog number 2 to return to norm. 1K views, 30 away. Click the link then, bruh. I mean, send the link. All right, let's look at some plays real quick. What do you guys want to see? Fourth quarter field goals for the Sixers. Let's see the defensive breakdowns, or do you want to see our shot selection? Can maybe do both, and we'll end it on that note. What do you guys want to see first? This are the points that we allowed. Here's the link to the Norman Powell video. Do we want to see our missed shots first, or do we want to see the Sixers buckets? Let me know. I'm reading the comments. The floor is yours, guys. By the way, members only live on Wednesdays. If you want to come debate me, you want to come talk to me, it's let's see how many members we have. We're doing a giveaway at 25 members, bro. And for Laker fans and Clipper fans. So if you're a Laker fan and most of the channels fans or Clipper fans, your odds of getting this giveaway are going to be big, and it's a good one. Like, Laker fans should be fucking signing up. All right. No, I cannot alternate, bro. Unless I go to Synergy. I could maybe go to Synergy if you want, but I'm not trying to do all that. It's 12:40 and I got to do Locked On. So nothing. Yeah, you do need to join my playback, Kyle's takes. Okay. I guess we're just because nobody wants to talk, and there's 60 of you in here and nobody wants to talk. You guys are gonna watch. We're gonna watch our field goal attempts in the fourth. Okay, let's take a look. All right. Let me know if it's laggy or anything. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Let's mute that. Okay. High pick and roll with Zoo and Bogey. Drummond and drop. Let's see what Bogey does. Keeps a defender in jail. Gets to the basket. Foul. And 1. Beautiful. Okay. You love to see that. Oops. I didn't have to do that. Okay. CP3. Hard Zubats pick and roll.
He's had
drop coverage. See, like, Chris Paul should be shooting this. Like, back in the day, that's a pull-up for him. I don't know why he's not shooting that. Because Zubats is getting the ball a little too deep here, a little too high here. And there's no advantage. He starts to go one-on-one on Drummond. Yeah, that's on Chris Paul to me. He should have pulled up. Okay. All right. Bogey and Zoo, pick and roll. See, the NBA is all high pick and roll, man. The spacing, Chris Paul's got to get his ass over to the right wing. That's a good shot. Wide open 3. It is what it is. That's a good shot, though. Oh. Beautiful ball movement. Wide open 3 for Bogey. Bang. So far, so good. 89-81. We're getting good looks. Hold on. I see a super chat. Appreciate this, man. Maza. Really appreciate that. Okay. All right. Bogey, Zoo, pick and roll again. We're just spamming this. That's a nice pass. Good shot. And it's put in. Wow, 10-point game. But we're looking good. Like, these are good possessions. Again, Bogey, pick and roll. Kick. Good kick. He's got to shoot that. We'll take the attack of the closeout. Nice play. Was that a foul? Zoo was complaining. Let's see. Hold on. It's hard to tell from that angle. Zoo's livid about it. So I would think it's a foul if he's that livid about it, even though he complains too much. Didn't look like he got up off the ground there like that. Look, he looks, I don't know. I have to see a replay. Got to see a replay. Is this Ricky Jennings person for real? Okay. Now it's a 3-point game. High pick and roll with Zoo and Chris Paul again. Zoo's, oh my God, advantage. Oh, he hit that. It was a big shot. We're getting good looks off this pick and roll, though. We really are. Wide open 3, Nico. I mean, these are good looks. We needed that one. Now it's Harden back in. They're blitzing or hedging. Oh, now it's ISO. Jab step back. And that's a decent look for him. Yep. Nice play. You got to hit that. Oh, that's a good look. You got to make these. We just went cold. We just really went cold. These are really good looks. I like this mid post Harden. You never see that. Oh, he should have hit Zoo there. I mean, that's still, oh my, what? They get blocked by the rim? What was that all about? See, gets by Quentin Grimes. I hate that shit. I don't know. I guess he just shot it under the rim. Like, I don't know. He should have given up to Zoo there when he flashed middle. Okay, good take. Foul. Damn, we can get the call. No Zoo tip, huh? Oh, no. Harden against Grimes again. Blows by him again. Oh, no, it's the same play. Missed that. And he tipped it in. Wow, that's a great play. Because it's 3 shot attempts on the possession. That's why it's repeating it. Okay, so Zoo, yeah, that's really 2 of 5. Those tips are really hard to make. You're trying to keep it alive at that point. I like this aggressive take by John Collins. Beautiful move. Left hand finish. Shows you can do some of that stuff if he catches the ball in the middle of the floor against a smaller defender. See, like, that's a settle job. We got to get downhill there. Look at Kobe Sanders crash the glass. I guess he was just tired. He's just tired. But this is what I mean by when they're loading up off of their guy, that he should give up the ball. Like, I think he just should take a step to the left and just give it up to John Collins, and he can get downhill. He was already off. Like, he can be a little more unselfish, in my opinion, there. Okay, no advantages created here. That's a terrible shot with 9 on the clock. Terrible shot. And then this is the last possession. He's got to stop playing for the foul, but he's never going to stop. It was a foul, though, but it was just not a good fourth quarter from James. He made some bad decisions. Kobe Sanders took a bad shot. Zoo missed a chippy. He should have made that floater. But let's look at the defense. Oh, new member. There we go, Mazza. Appreciate you, buddy. Bing. I think you are number 8. When we get to 25, we're doing a giveaway. So, Lakers and Clipper fans. What's your favorite team, Mazza? I need to know what everybody's favorite team is, because then we'll know. By the way, I interviewed the kid that ran onto the court. He was one of my former players. And I interviewed him for a members only video. Let me see. How many, before we watch we're gonna watch the clips right now of the Sixers makes. What's gifted dime dropper? What does that mean? Gifted 1 dime dropper membership? I don't know what that means. Oh, there's another one. BC's a member too. Shout out to BC. Okay, he's a Laker fan. Damn, he's trying to get that giveaway, huh? Shaft 9000, Danny Sanchez are Clipper fans. I think Joao Suarez is a Clipper fan too. Ty, what team? Are you a Clipper fan as well? Damn, okay. We got how many members now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. All right, let's take a look before we shut this down of the Sixers misses. Or sorry, the Sixers makes in that fourth quarter. We analyze the defense. Okay. Can everybody see? Good to go? All right. Let's take a look at these makes. Okay, Paul George, ISO against Bogey. They set a little screen for Maxey to free up. That's deep. I mean, come on. That's deep. You gotta live with that until he makes a ton. See, Paul George gets the step on Nico. Drummond for 3. Scouting report says we give him that. Hits it. So far, not too bad about the defense on any of these. VJ Edgecombe against Cam Christie and ISO. Gets the step. Makes a good move and scores 1-on-1. It's good offense. Cam Christie got beat, but it is what it is. See, like, Chris Dunn's getting beat too easy, but I think he was in foul trouble. That's way too easy for a defender of his caliber. Transition. Let's see. Zubats is late getting back. We're 5-on-4, and Batum falls to the ground. I mean, Jesus. Unlucky there. They move the ball really well in this possession. So on the last one, Zoo's got to stop complaining and just get his ass back. Bogey gets beat super easily. That's what causes the breakdown here. So like nobody's gotten beat twice in a row yet or twice yet. It's just everyone is not they're making tough shots, but then we're like no one is absolved of any blame so far. Okay, Dominic Barlow against Nico. Look at Chris Dunn, back cut. He's allowed like 5 points right now, Chris Dunn. What's going up with one hand? Like, what is that? Like, look at this. He's got to just make sure Drummond doesn't get the rebound. He's just crashing towards the rim, and then it's a long miss. I mean, come on, Zoo. And then Harden's just ball watching. Like, Jesus, man. You got to put it on these two. The problem is they have to be great every night. That's annoying, but it is what it is. Wow. That's a beautiful Euro step. He's just such a blur with the ball. Let's see. Someone's got to stop the ball. Harden. Ugh. Yeah, it was doomed. Man, Zoo can. I just feel like Zoo's not really getting as many blocks. Okay, John Collins switched on to him. That's no good. Nice recovery by Kobe Sanders. Pokes it away. Oh, God. Harden. Is another transition one, huh? Off this miss. Let's see. It's no talking there from Sanders and John Collins because Kobe Sanders went to two guys at once. That's why he was, he got beat. He's stepping up to the ball. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It looks like he's about to take the corner. Kobe Sanders when he's getting back. Look, he looks like he's about to take VJ Edgecombe. It's more logical for John Collins to take Quentin Grimes because he's going towards him. But that's just an unnecessary switch right there. It's because Kobe Sanders and John Collins haven't really played that much. What is that? I mean, Jesus. What is happening there? Kobe Sanders is guarding Tyrese Maxey. Chris Dunn is like, that's just, again, what is he doing? He's just overcommitting. Stay solid. Chris Dunn has to be blamed a lot for this fourth quarter. He really put his hand up because he's apologizing. He knows 7 points have come from him. 7 points. That's just a good shot. He just dotted him in the eye. I mean, you got to live with those kind of shots. We didn't lose because of those kinds of shots. We lost because of stupid miscommunications. I mean, that's another deep three. My goodness. So that's it. You see, there's some gambling there from Chris Dunn. There's some amazing shot making that just ended up happening. Transition defense could be better. Harden and Bogey out there together is not ideal. It's hard. But anyway, guys, appreciate you all. What's your favorite team, Mazza? He says, because I got you. You're a Clipper fan. Okay, Clipper fan. Cool. All right, bro. Peace out, everybody. Man, right now BC is in what's it called? BC is the only Laker fan, I think, that's a member. We got to check if those other members are. I know for a fact Shaft 9000, Felicius Leo, Danny Sanchez, Joel Suarez, Maza are all Clipper fans. So 5 out of 9. Laker fans, BC about to win a free jersey. Let's see. What does this mean? What are channel emoji? You got to get some channel emoji. What does that mean? What does that mean, channel emojis? Oh, Maza's a Laker fan. Okay, so now we got 2 people in the Laker running. Okay. What are channel emojis, bro? You can make your own emojis, like the Clipper. Like we can work on that. Let's see. I don't know. Memberships, badges, and emoji. Okay, I have one. Upload my own. I see, for a new member after 1 month. Okay, we'll figure that out. Me and Fabian will talk through it. But Appreciate you all. By the way, make sure you subscribe to All Ball TV. Yeah, Chris Paul did play. Make sure you subscribe to All Ball TV. Oh, wait. Wait, Maza, you paid for BC's membership? Really? Okay, I'm gonna end the live. Did you actually pay for BC's membership? That's a real thing? All right. Peace out, everybody.